Maybe FD?
Maybe FD. And we have another Peach Marth set for the day. Had quite a bit of it up on here.
Yes, or I just got 3 Odin winners. He's
Yeah.
probably not going to be looking to hopefully drop a game in losers.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that would be the ideal goal. But keep in mind, if Braixen wins this, it wouldn't be the very first time ever, but it would be the first best of 5 that it's happened. The time it happened previously was at one of the first epics that were starting using the ladder format, and it was during ladder. So that is important to note for it. It's best of 3 set in an experimental new format, kind of.
Or landing the back air, taking the stock. Gets a bomb. Gets a sword after a bomb.
That's wild chances there. But opting to just kind of throw both right away. It's fine. At this percentage, like, at low percentage for Braixen, like, what are you going to do with either of these things? Like, they're not going to kill. And you don't really have a lot of options to, like, set anything up to get that percentage before you throw it, so.
Lands a huge combo, 69% though.
So, I actually really enjoy watching a set happen after, like, where you see a player like Outlet who's going to play this really, really close with Braixen. They, like, traded sets back and forth. And Braixen won this time, right?
Yeah.
But now we can see another Peach player who's a little more highly regarded, right? A bit more of a skilled player. We're going to see what they're going to do differently, right? So we get to kind of compare and contrast between these options we're going to see. And I always think that's really interesting, regardless of what, like, matchup it is. It's just since it happens to be the same, same kind of main for the next person. Some things are interesting though, because like stuff like that, we never saw Braixen make that kind of like mistake with an up B.
Yeah.
So like if Outlet had been given that situation, right, I'm sure they would have like capitalized on it too. But this is a really close game still, actually.
And Braixen did kill themselves at 0 early. Fail ledge dash.
That's interesting because we see Aura going for a lot of really similar setups, but maybe being a little bit more like respective, reactive, and dedicated to shield options.
Lands
We
the
saw that
toad.
situation on the platform as well as that neutral center stage situation, and both times showed really good commitment to shield until realizing you can punish something.
Gets the stitch.
Lets it go, and this forward throw should probably do it. Maybe not. At least it starts a ledge guard situation. Can still recover from that too. Okay.
Ends up grabbing the ledges. Considering how close that was after the SD, Braixen should not be too upset. They can continue to win.
Yeah, I actually agree. Like, it might be upsetting that it happens, right? And like that game, it's gone. You can't do anything about it. But you can recognize and say, hey, I actually played very, very closely. And like if I take advantage of situations where things worked well, and focus on those as opposed to like where my faults were. If you need to focus on your faults at all, it's like I made an execution error and I need to focus on that. And whatever solution you need to come with. I know some people go, like lower level players pretty frequently, and this might be the right call for a lower level player, would go, all right, I'm dying because I'm killing myself in my ledge dashes, right? Don't go for him. Like call it. Like it's not worth losing your stock for it, right? Other instances might go, I made an error while I'm ledge dashing, right? It happens, even the top level game sometimes. It still just happens. And you go, I just need to focus on my ledge dashes a little bit more. Like, clean it up. Because you can't, when you're at that level of the game, you can't be scared to pick your options anymore. Unless you've got, something to replace it with. Dude, that was a really deep edge card by Aura going after it. But Braixen had a great escape from it, actually.
A common trend between Aura and Outlet is they're not really grabbing ledge.
No, Peach players typically don't. Because Peach has bad ledge options in general. But the thing is, if Marth has to up B and land on stage, you still have that delay of landing time, and Peach has options to go for it there, but you're most likely going to hit them into the stage at that point versus out of the stage.
So unless they're at like ridiculous high percentages,
yeah,
it's not
exactly.
really going to be a good
you kind of want to kill them from the stage when you can, or use turnips. However, I can agree in both situations that we don't see we don't see either of them recognizing that their turnip didn't work and that they might have to make the call from there. That's something I would say would be an adjustment, but it's a close reaction.
Braixen's having a really good job calling out float heights and landing their aerials. Closed out the stock with a F smash last time.
Yeah. Ooh, if that dare connected, that would be really juicy. And there's no jump back from that, and that will probably close it, right? No, not quite.
This is a situation Braixen's been really good in, not
Yes,
letting the Peach
exactly.
land.
However, Aura did get away with it this time with a really low back air into a down smash. The back air didn't even have to work. It actually shield. But
Up B out of shield to take it.
nice. The thing about taking a step back, looking at Aura's dissension right there on how they got back in, was that he hit back air on shield, which is fine because you're able to get a down smash after, which is super likely to poke because of its crazy big hitboxes, of
Yeah.
course. And even though you're not really able to get much off it after that, the idea of getting yourself down and back into that neutral position is huge. You don't want to stay there against Marth. Exactly like that situation where Aura really wanted to just get down, right? Without a jump, it's really, really scary. Great grab.
Braixen landing 4 grabs in neutral.
Yep. Wow, really well placed down tilt there. A little ambitious, but I do like the idea. It covered double jump, like right away.
The up tilt to clean it. 3 stocks to 1 on FD. 3 stocks to 2 on FD.
It happens at 124%, you know?
This is not unwinnable, but it is a decent lead.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Braixen getting punished for the F smash.
It's uncommon that you see that up tilt that started this opening for Braixen right now was a trade off of one of Peach's moves. I couldn't even see what came out. But normally Peach's trades end up netting her the benefit in most circumstances. But because the height percentage, I think it was not great since it hit Peach a little too far away to actually get anything off of it. Well, it's kind of a nice position for Braixen to be left in his Marth.
Grabs the ledge, steals it away.
I want to make a shout out to Phrase, who was in the chat earlier, spreading some organ love. Also, shout outs to the Melbourne combo video, housewarming.
Aura is exploiting the kill setups very well, punishing the side B on shield.
Okay, there it was. I was about to say, like, if this is a comeback made by Aura, that's amazing. That was a really huge deficit at one point that came really, really close again.
It's 1-1 going to Aura's counter pick.
Yes. As we mentioned before, Aura would have obviously loved to have not had to deal with losing a game in this set to move back into grand finals, hopefully, right?
Yeah.
Without being stressed like that. Because they're going to have to go in and fight Ford again, who just was off a really hot set.
And take 6 games.
And take 6 games. So you want to be...
You want to have the momentum on.
Yes, exactly. So I'm going to guess that Braixen and Ford, they couldn't have run into each other yet then, right?
I'm
I
pretty
don't
sure.
think they could have. Right? Who knocked Braixen into losers then?
I'm not sure who knocked Braixen into losers.
I suppose it could have been Ford. I haven't actually looked at the bracket since it was announced. I've just played who I'm supposed to play.
I haven't looked at the bracket since I went 0-2.
Rough. Good landing there.
I'm really
That's the
looking.
kind of setup Outlet was looking for a lot as well, but that had a little bit, like, Outlet was doing those sort of aerials and then doing it as soon as they landed, as opposed to that, which was an aerial pause and react to what the option was, and then use it like reactionarily. So, also a huge difference we're seeing here is that Aura counterpicks to Dreamland at first chance.
Yes.
Outlet 7's my very good friend, and we're gonna be going over some analysis tonight, and we might not watch this set, but I will bring up what are you doing? You got to take good stages for yourself. Maybe on the first pick because Yoshi's worked, right? I want to know Yoshi's did work for Outlet, so I would never argue and say you can't counterpick that stage because it worked for you. But after that, Fountain of Dreams really didn't work. And when you look at it, when they went to Battlefield first, Fountain and Battlefield are the most similar stages, right? Size-wise, platform-wise, etc. If you lost on Battlefield, what's going to be better about Fountain, like particularly, right? And if you're not the kind of player who's taking advantage of Fountain, why, right? Dreamland's on the plate. I really wonder if he just forgot Dreamland was on the table. Marth hated it.
Or is landing the down airs into up air, into nairs.
And you know why he's doing that most likely? We kept seeing situations where down air was netting into nair, but Braixen was getting away with it by squeezing moves in. So now mixing up by recognizing the SDS situation. by mixing in a different move.
Seems like Aura is dealing with the pressure that Braixen's putting on a lot better than Outlet was.
100%. Especially on the stage where you have a little bit more space and platforms to, like, to zone with, right? You have options to at least pretend. Oh, that was an amazing
Counters
counter.
the stitch.
Braixen does an amazing job, actually, about handling turnips. By, like, in the situations where we've seen them grab them, or counter them in that situation, right? Amazingly, actually. There was one in, I think it was their first game, it might have been the FD game, I don't recall. Braixen actually caught one of the turnips and used it for a really good neutral opening.
Aura just stacked up 50% off of turnips.
Yeah. If you give Peach too much room to do that kind of thing, turnips can be really threatening.
And that's it.
There's a Marth killer.
As you saw last set, Braixen did win really hard on FOD, so it may be his counter pick. Decides to go to Pokemon.
Yeah, I think this is a pretty reasonable choice. Obviously, killing off sides early, pivot tippers are good, and Marth doesn't kill off the top a whole lot, right? But off of certain DI setups, you can still get those, and it's still beneficial to you. But and also on the same side as Peach isn't really killing you off the top either all that much. We've seen Aura using quite a few of those situations to actually get up air set up, like for kill up airs. But it's somewhat uncommon, right? It's the kind of setup that, like, it's like in some floaty dittos, Puff, like Jigglypuff isn't so bad on Pokemon, right? Because she has some pretty decent kill off the top options, like drill up smash and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's funny that, like, that Puff can take Peach to Pokemon as a good pick, right? Because you can kill off the top, because Peach can't really. Like, does that make sense? Like, so, like, in this situation, it's like, yeah, Peach can, but it's not that good. It benefits Marth a lot more.
Yeah. Maybe it'll discourage him from SDI.
Yeah. It also makes these off-stage situations a little scarier, too. That, like, now there's a lot of situations where Braixen was threatening back airs before that would have just made the edge guard more difficult, or, like, the recovery more difficult, but now they will just kill. Like, this is that's exactly the kind of situation. That back air, were it to connect, that's just the stock. While on, like, a Dreamland, I don't know, even 100%, Peach might just live.
It is good to note that Aura did win game 1 on this stage, though.
Yeah. Yeah, that was where they started, as little strange as it was.
Miss Tech into F Smash?
We talked about that exact setup earlier, how good it is, having this outlet. Braixen is likely pretty comfortable on this stage for the matchup, at least. It's probably why they ended up going neutral there. Braixen did win the RPS for neutral.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it boiled down to maybe this stage and Yoshi's probably.
Yeah.
But since Aura wanted Yoshi's to start, I imagine you're a little encouraged to go the other way. Also, considering their previous set versus the Peach player was not amazing.
Where they
Yoshi's.
lost.
Yeah, exactly. You might consider that and say, hey, maybe I was a little overwhelmed by, like, some Peach pressure on platforms, getting too close. Ooh. They did not want to get on this stage with that. They were really looking for the sweet spot, but they're... And again,
Smash on the platform.
Yes.
Tight game.
A very tight game.
Both players taking advantage of pushing the other player to the side of the stage.
Marth has no jump right now, so that's going to create a stock.
Aura gets a huge opening. Braixen's F smash, they're just hitting. Oh, as soon as I say that.
Some things about that is, like, some Marths just make F smash connect, right? And some people, like, say they're just throwing it out, and I hate that idea where it's like, no, when they're working enough, you're recognizing some sort of movement pattern and capitalizing on it. I don't think that that's, like, a horrible thing to do. If they're working, right? Like, why would you, like, look down on it?
Yeah. Derek did drop a game, which is probably something he did not want to do.
Yeah, a little uncharacteristic. Well, I mean, that sounds crazy. As I mentioned before, Braixen has beaten Aura before.
You hit me and I can't do nothing.